we have the last cherry on top of the cake that I promised. So the replication handbook will be introduced by Kaisa from Forum Virium. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Anna. So hello, my name is Kaisa Sibelius and I'm coming from the Forum Virium Helsinki, which is the innovation company owned by the city of Helsinki. And now you have heard already about the many results and outcomes of the project and so far. And now I'm going to introduce shortly one more future results of the project, which is the replication handbook. Please, next slide. So here is the main page of the web page. So one goal of the one of the goals of the project is to create and share replicable practices and relevant learnings based on the activities and results of the project. And the handbook will be the comprehensive guide that ties in TREASoURce's key results. And the purpose is to produce a detailed and useful resource that summarize and connects the main outcomes and impacts of our project, such as innovation or methodologies or lessons learned. And we will organize that information in a handbook according to TREASoURce's the three main areas of interest: those plastics, plastic waste, battery repurposing, and bio-based side stream and waste, which are here those three elements of pictures. And the handbook is a website, as you already maybe guess, but it's separate from the project main website. And it's a living, the idea is that it's going to be a living document and the content will be created and developed until the end of the project. And currently, as the project is midway, the handbook is still in a very early stage and released very recently. And we want to document and disseminate that work and what doesn't, based on our experience, and it's based on our experiences, so the others can benefit and apply it from their own contexts then. And in this slide, at the moment, the content and articles are divided in two categories, like best practices and the use cases. Best practices articles will guide and provide instructions on how to replicate or copy the system or activities developed in this TREASoURCE project. And the use cases will illustrate example cases based on the project and tell how we did it. And next slide, please. And the three key value chains are probably the most logical way to navigate the site, but you can also sort articles by industry and focus on the materials with relevant information from your own perspective, such as administration or business or non-profit organization. This functionality will save your time, as you don't need to go through everything if you don't want to. At the moment, when there is not so much content, maybe this functionality is not the most relevant one. And the next slide. So that was actually all from my side, but please visit the site, and we are also very interested in to receive your ideas and how to develop the handbook, because we want to make it into the permanent site that will continue to be active even after the project ends. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, and thank you from my side.
Oh, thank you very much, Kaisa.
Yeah.
Very good. And this is now kind of the official launch date for that. So congratulations on the big work. Next, we have the Q&A. So please, you can use the chat to write in your questions. You can raise your hand and we can take your questions as they come in. But first, I would like to ask if all the speakers could come online again, or put on your videos, probably the correct way to say it. And as we wait for the great questions to flow in, maybe we can start off with something towards Jan and Tiina, and maybe also Teele, that what are the main hurdles and barriers that you've had for efficient stakeholder engagement and participation?
Jan, do you want to start?
Yeah, well, for stakeholder engagement, of course, it's sort of I would say it's also trying to sort of find the right framework and topic also for both for procurers and also for citizens to engage them, and the right ways of reaching. We have if you could continue a little, Tiina.
I think you're absolutely right. I think motivating the different stakeholders to attend to our activities and kind of like find the benefits for them and communicate that properly. That's always a difficult part of the when you then engage them and they come to your events. Then I think that's pretty easy. But that recruitment and motivation part is always difficult.
So I'm hearing that you see that these kind of tailored approaches, tailored ways, tailored messages, that's key, and finding what motivates the stakeholders.
Yes, and different methods. So for example, for B2B, we use different methods. So in Tampere, we did one kind of a workshop with one method, and then we did matchmaking in Ostfolder weekend, which was, again, different methods. So it really depends on the target group and their needs and understanding their needs.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too easy to do nor quick to do. It sounds quite laborious. What is your take on this?
Yeah, it's something you need to discuss with sort of people who have with forums with different different representatives or people who are very knowledgeable about the different stakeholders and their aims, also to sort of communicate both to tell them make it, but also to find the right communication channels to reach them. Yeah. So that's something we've done, also working with different partnerships and actors who have good contacts with the different stakeholders. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems
exactly. The collaboration between different kind of ecosystems, projects, networks is very important, and also that within our project, people are sharing and they are caring. That different target groups get engaged. So it's important that everybody's sharing.
But it seems to be worth it to kind of take the extra effort to make more tailored approaches, because then you get the real results. Yes.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yes, very good. What do you think then, for example, we have some municipalities, cities, regions involved, of course, in the project, but probably online as well. How can they find tips and ways to make this maybe effort a bit more streamlined? Is it something that is reflected in the replication handbook? Do we give what kind of methods and tools we can give to make others' job more efficient, so not everything maybe has to be repeated what we have done?
Well, we have in the replication handbook, it's both, there are both methods to how you can do different workshops or engagement activities with the relevant stakeholders or actors, but there will also be also developed recipes for procurers relating to, for instance, plastic waste from construction sites, or plastic for eco-design for when municipalities buy goods and services, and also working on circular textiles, for instance. So both the replication handbook and documents on recipes and methods to engage the stakeholders will be available.
Yeah, and I think that prompts to my next question a little bit. Maybe Kaisa from Forum Virium and maybe even Elisaveta can jump in from the next session. That what do you think are the critical factors for successful replication? So what have we considered in order to facilitate the replication as much as possible?
Well, I think that it's important to give the instructions or give the idea that how to do it in practice, and also maybe some obstacles that we have found out, or problems that so you doesn't need to make the same mistakes by yourself. But it's always hard to say that, well, it wasn't so easy to do, because everybody wants to always say that, well, it was a successful story and so on. But anyway, at least that's probably, or at least I hope that we can be honest and say that please avoid this kind of, or be at least aware of this kind of challenge, what might happen when you do it. And also the examples, I would say, that are that you also explain or give that kind of idea that how we did it in practice, not only put that checking list or that advices, but also share that real case in as an also like an inspiration for the others.
Very good. I don't know, Elisaveta, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yes, hi, can you hear me? Sorry for
the
background noise there. So we actually, in our task 6.2, we are developing a specific replication framework for that. So we're looking at different factors that might affect the replicability. These are like some legislative prerequisites, technology, society can also play a role. So are there like control dimensions that might be at play? And we just started working on this, and we will have a sort of generic framework, I would say, for replicability, where you have those specific aspects that you have to look at if you want the practice to be replicable and used in your country. Yes, but this work is, so to say, just started.
Very good, but more results will be gained from there. And also to everybody online, if you have any questions, feel free to put up your hand, and you can ask directly or then also write in the chat. If somebody's thinking about asking further questions, as of now, we don't have any hands nor anything in the chat, so I can still go back to my good list. So maybe, Stefan, could you elaborate a little bit that what do you think are the main challenges when we are trying to integrate the mechanical and chemical recycling processes? Or the kind of complementary approach? What are the main challenges, hurdles there?
It's probably to get the whole value chain somehow established, because it's many actors that need to play together, and certain things are already in place for like collection, but then still there are many industries that need to talk together and kind of align their businesses and to establish something. So so that's kind of a bit of a difficult task to kind of. One could start with kind of like small circles where we have only 3-4 companies that need to work together, and then they can kind of try to make the things running, and then try to expand, include more, and then kind of grow, instead of trying to establish already something very complicated from the start. But I think that's often a hurdle that people don't know where to go, where to talk to, or who wants to buy what or something. So
so building the value chains comes again into a very big question, meeting the supply of the feedstock, but also getting buyers for the products that are made out of the recycling.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe this is for Stefan, and maybe also for Tran to think a little bit, but from what kind of approach should we take? You mentioned that for the agricultural plastics, the PE was found to be suitable for both mechanical and chemical, so it will be a wanted feedstock hopefully at some point. So what kind of, how should the complementarity, possibly also hierarchy, be implemented then with the different technologies?
Well, there one could see what there's a fraction in this which is like very, because how to say, chemical recycling can handle a bit more of impurities. So we could again look a bit more in detail in this agricultural plastic waste and see, is there a fraction which is naturally already relatively clean and easy to handle. So then that's like low-hanging fruit for mechanical recycling. And other fractions which might be a bit difficult to handle, like foils, and which also might be a bit more contaminated, that could be then something where you say, okay, their chemical recycling might be a better option because it requires less of washing effort, for example. And that could be one way. And then it's still finding then, to establish it again, finding then a recycling or recycler that is interested in the material and also finds someone who would like to buy the recycled, or who is then convinced that, okay, the material that he can get is good enough for their process, so that they can then build and also can plan in a way that, okay, a certain amount is regularly coming. Because that's also another thing which might be a bit difficult with recycling, is that the amounts may vary over time. At some point there might be a lot of waste, and some other point there might be less. But as a producer, I would like to have a constant flow of material. So then someone in between needs to kind of compensate or kind of buffer, so that I, as a kind of plastic producer, get every month a certain amount with a kind of acceptable quality, so that as a company I can plan. So that's also sometimes the difficulty in recycling, because the amounts may go up and down relatively quickly.
Yeah, so the quality and the quantity are both an important part.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very good thoughts. And maybe still to continue on the mechanical versus chemical recycling, Alex, in your studies, will you be going into the details of comparing the environmental impacts of the two different technologies?
Yeah, definitely. So it's, I mean, in the end, these two technologies are very complementary, as we've seen, and it comes down to then kind of looking at the regions in which we want to implement these solutions, and then kind of figuring out the best combination of these two, or the best way to introduce these two technologies based on, the feedstocks of the region and the local conditions, and essentially then set up a constellation of these technologies that really have the best or the most suitable and best impacts in terms of the sustainability dimensions. So we're really going to look at all the different scenarios, compare the impacts in the environmental and the social and in the economic dimension, and especially then also compare or look at also the consequences of introducing these technologies. So if we're introducing chemical recycling, what does this kind of what does this change on the market? Do we have less primary products that we suddenly need? Do we have less plastic products, primary plastic products that we suddenly need? And these are some consequences and changes in the sustainability impacts that we really want to achieve and look out for, definitely, yeah.
So the system dynamics model, it allows to really assess the complementariness and the benefits possibly also. Yeah, very interesting. Thank you, Alex. And maybe just a final topic to touch upon. We know we are discussing quite a lot of recycling at the moment, but there are plenty of different higher level strategies for circular economy, higher circularity level strategies, probably the right order of the words, but we heard a nice example from Tele on the reuse, and it was actually written in the chat that your work was very inspiring. And there's a wish that these type of events would become more common in the future and in other countries as well. So has there been a lot of interest in the implementation of the reuse concept in the events from Tallinn, and how do you plan to promote it further?
There has been a lot of interest from other countries near and even far. We are in another project called Change Now, and this is the project's focus is also to the change from single-use to multiple-use, and this is how we can also give our advice to others and also give our knowledge about what are the mistakes or barriers, and other countries can take our example and make the same kind of system or even something better. And if they do something better, maybe we can learn and and get back from there.
That's very good. And still to confirm, will the reuse cases already referenced in the replication handbook? Kaisa and Tele? Not yet, but it's under work, so it will be there.
Yeah, yes.
Very good. Any final questions, comments? Oh, Jan, please go ahead.
I'd just like to chime in also that there will be a separate kind of work or report also on advices for C criteria for both event organizers and event funders, where we look at the different levels of circularity, where this part with the reuse cases, but also others will be handled and sort of set into different categories relevant to the events.
Very good, very good. And I think there have been plenty more that we've done, but of course we couldn't fill everything to the slot that we had. So we've executed different types of plastic waste campaign collections, or collection campaigns, which typically don't get collected. We have had different fixing festivals where we have this fixing repair networks and so on. So there's plenty more, and do check out the replication handbook, and we'll be of course promoting the new editions in the replication handbook. So if you have not followed the project yet in our social media accounts, as well as signed to the newsletter, this is probably the perfect opportunity to do so. Any final thoughts from the plastics group? All right, I think we can then start closing the session. I will double check the chat once more. Yes, I think there was just discussion on the replication handbook. We'll double check if there's an issue, but it might be some update that's going on at the moment. Or then we've had so many people looking at it that we've created already a little bit of too much traffic on the site. But anyhow, big thanks to all of the speakers, and I know there's a big extended group behind you guys as well. So big thanks to all the people who've been working hard in the project. We're a quite big project, so a lot of people to thank.